This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, well, that was eventful, as now we are officially first dose in the apartment, which is good, I guess. But you were saying it takes 2 weeks before we're fully
to build
a full
build
immunity.
something in the body.
So do we know what is the, like, I'm totally not paying attention anymore, but what is the percentage of protection after the first dose?
It depends on the variants, right?
Okay, regardless of the variants, what about the first one? Like the first...
I don't remember the first one anymore, because it's not like, the reason why we don't think about the first one anymore is because predominantly what's happening, or especially in Ontario, it seems to be more of the UK variant than
really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, because it was much more highly contagious than the original. So the original strain has probably diminished, but it's the UK variant that's been going up, right?
Right.
So that's why it doesn't really matter with the other variant. Original one. It's more about, like, is it effective against the new one?
So is it effective against the new one?
So I don't know the UK one, but it's saying that both jabs of...
I love how you just call them jabs.
I just read it like that. That's why.
Oh, okay.
I was just reading an article that said that. And both of the
shots.
Once you get 2 shots of them, it's, I think, 80... Again, these percentages, what do they really mean? In context, I'll come back to that. So it's like 81% against the Indian variant and 87% protection against the UK variant. Okay,
so it diminished compared to in the beginning when it said after the 2 shots, you have 95%.
Yeah, it diminished very slightly, but it's not like...
Yeah.
It's, and also, what do those percentages mean? And it's like... Because reading the other one, it's saying like AstraZeneca and Pfizer are highly effective against Indian and the UK variant, and then it's also like the 2 doses were shown to provide protection against symptomatic disease and prevent hospitalization and death. Right. So so it's like,
but it's funny because I remember in the beginning, I'm pretty sure we got to like look back into it, but the AstraZeneca protection was like 60%.
Yeah, so again, like, what level of the study was it at? Because then I've read somewhere 60%. I just came across something where it's saying 85 to 90.
What?
Like, yeah, as you get further along in the study and you've got done more people, right, you're getting a more,
because it's not static.
Better. Yeah.
So it's funny, like, we have to remember about static, like, science.
Yeah,
because we always think of it in terms of this is the answer right away, but it's actually not. It's growing.
It's still ongoing.
So it's going to go up and down and like all that. But I'm pretty confident in the Pfizer one, probably just because that's the first one. It's funny, we were saying in the beginning how like everyone was kind of against the Pfizer because it was the first one that because it was the first one that came out compared to Moderna. Remember, like, well, you can't even, when Moderna came out, and then people were like,
right. Yeah, they were very close timing. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, well, I'd rather get Moderna because that's the one that
it had the higher.
No, you don't have to keep it colder.
But
like that. Pfizer had a higher percentage rate, but by 1%. Like, everyone was
there was a race between the two because it was like, I think, I don't know if it was like Pfizer said, was it 91 or at the time?
94.
94 maybe, and then Moderna came out saying 95.
Oh, wait, no, Pfizer? No, it was 96.
No, because it was less than the Moderna at first, and then it came
really?
around.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Then it said, wait, with more studying, it seems like it's 96.
Oh, I remember that. We were like laughing about that. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. What? Any news on the Johnson Johnson or?
I don't know. Because it's not really. It's only, I think, generally used in America. It's not outside.
That's weird. Why did that happen?
Well, at first it was like any vaccines that were created in America were supposed to be used only for Americans, and that was something that Trump set up.
Okay.
Right, and only recently did that.
Get reversed.
Not reversed, where that deal ends. Right, like where the contract ends until.
Got it.
I think it was March of this year.
That's so funny how you think of these things in terms of like contracts. You
Yeah.
know?
And then, so after March, I guess, then it was like, I think Biden has now made it where they're shipping stuff to other countries that are in need, like us, Canada, and Mexico.
Oh, that's
It's
great.
better to help out your neighbors.
It makes sense, yeah, because you're NAFTA, right?
Yeah.
So you guys need to
Not anymore
work with your
NAFTA,
part-
but yeah.
Oh, really? Eh? When did that end?
No. It's USMCA. That's what Trump did.
Oh, he just renamed it. Oh man, that's so funny. Oh, I thought that when you said
The
not
word
anymore, I was
NAFTA
like, oh,
isn't
did the-
used anymore. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
It's because that was like one of his things in his campaign. I remember, like,
Yeah.
they're against NAFTA, but then he just did USMCA, which is the same
It's
thing.
weird how when you think about
Similar. I mean,
it is weird when you think about these like global partnerships, because I remember when I was like studying it, there's NAFTA, there's the EU, there's the ASEAN region,
yeah.
and you forget that they're all working independently, but towards making their fortification strong.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
essentially what these things do is they make trade agreements so that you're paying less in taxes as you're crossing
Yeah.
those things. Whereas like if you're not a part of the EU and you're trying to sell from the ASEAN region, the Asian ASEAN, you'd pay like a higher duty,
Import tax fees or
stuff
things like that. Yeah, that's like Canada tries to get it because we have the Pacific side, so we can probably connect with some like.
But it's weird because you never think about these are business models, you know?
Yeah.
I keep going back to it, but like every country is run like a business, and we tend to forget that.
Yeah.
Even with this contract over like the shots being shared, it's weird.
Like
When
even
you said it was a contract that ended, I was like, oh, I didn't know that it was a contract. I thought it was like,
well, yeah, it was like set up by Trump, where it's like we can only use it for Americans, and that was
Right.
gonna end at this time, I guess,
okay, true.
for that deal or whatever it was, contract. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then now they're shipping it out. Now the other thing is like, it's kind of interesting where they were ahead of us, Americans were, but like our rate of vaccination is higher than Americans.
Yeah, totally.
And I guess more people are getting it here compared to in America because it's like 25% are not taking the vaccine.
But I mean, technically, we're not at that range yet where we're like, if we hit 80% people getting the shot, then you can say we're better.
Well,
than
the
America.
rate that we're giving it out at is
in
better.
speed?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
So
we have less
in a way that
people.
we're going to be reaching further.
Technically, we have less people, though. You know.
No, but that's what the rate means, though, right?
Oh, okay. Relative to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's like a percentage.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So like and it seems like they're having an surplus of vaccines in America because people
And
are
they're
not
shipping them out now.
Yeah.
It's funny because there's so many people that were against it, but I don't know if the rhetoric that I was seeing was just American rhetoric, you know?
I think so. I think
Like a lot of the people that commented were, maybe they were actually, now that I look at it, it's like, yeah, they were all American. The people that were like anti-vax on this, I was like, oh, that's odd.
Right.
But yeah, I guess in Canada, we think more collectively, you know, even though
I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure. Even though we're influenced by America a lot. But.
We are. So seeing the media, I was thinking, oh, people don't want to get this thing. And then you see like people who initially thought they weren't going to get it are just shifting
So
over
yeah,
sides.
even those numbers showed where it was like, are you going to get the shot? At first it was like, I don't remember the percentage, but it seemed like a higher percentage of saying I'm not going to get the shot. But then that diminished as vaccination started to happen.
Yeah, 'cause-
that number got smaller and smaller.
But do you think that's more of like a sheep mentality, herd mentality?
I think so. I think it's like us posting things like, "Oh, we got vaccinated," or it's like this is like, okay, everybody's doing it. It seems normal.
Yeah,
And
totally.
then that's kind of what happens.
Yeah, and then when you're in that zone, it's like I just have to do it because that's what it goes back to that video of those kids, which is so funny because it's like kids can really teach you something. But
Oh yeah,
remember? they're like Pfizer gang. It's a hot boy summer. We need to get vaccinated, get back on track, do our part. And if you don't get vaccinated, you're a weirdo.
or a waste man.
Oh yeah, that was the best.
That
one.
was the best
Yeah,
line.
that was the best one. If you don't get vaccinated, you're a waste man. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty true. Because the thing that I feel about it, regardless, because I know some people that are very anti-vax, not just like
Right.
I know
Sure.
quite a few people, but actually it's funny thinking about it because remember that one person who seemed like wasn't gonna get it, and then they got it, and their entire family got it. I was like, oh, that was a quick shift.
Mm-hmm.
But they just changed their mind.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But it goes back to the stat, like you were
Yeah,
saying. It
yeah.
normalized it, so they're like, let's just all get the vaccine.
Yeah.
So, the thing that I gravitate towards with the kid thing, even though it's more a joke when you say like you don't want to be a waste man, get the vaccine. If you really break that down, it's because if you're at a thing, it's sort of like it's the monkey thing. You know, everybody's pulling their weight.
Yeah.
So if you get a grape and you get an onion,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna be like, why didn't I get the grape? You know? So the person that's not getting the vaccine, when everything opens up, they're getting the grape. But all of us who had to get the shot to make it open for you,
Yeah.
we got the onion.
You're right.
You know, because we're the ones. Like, there's no danger surrounding the vaccine, but like the ordeal of having to go get it and like all that stuff, it makes it more arduous than the person that's just waiting. You know, it seems more like it's like when you're in a school project and they're the loafter and you're like, come on, bro, like do your part. We're all
Yeah.
we're all trying to get an A on this assignment.
Yeah.
You know, and then the people that refuse to get it just seem like they're coasting until this thing goes away. And then they're like, see, like we didn't even, like the only reason why it opened up is because all of us pulled together.
Exactly.
You were just the wayward sheep, or like the waste man.
I wonder, like, because again, it's gonna, if you travel, I guess that's where it'll affect you.
But I feel like,
But
remember
are
we
those
go
people
back to
traveling? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do those people traveling?
So all of us who are getting it, we want to go back to movie theaters.
But maybe
like,
venues, like, I don't know, maybe you're a sports guy, can't go into like the ACC without having
probably. Probably.
Yeah.
Actually, I was seeing they're talking about the COVID passport not only being for international travel, but for work, to go back to work.
Yeah,
And I was like,
yeah.
oh, that might actually be a thing.
Yeah.
You know, because especially like depending on how things roll out afterwards. If we're fully at zero, okay, it doesn't matter. But if we're sitting at like 40%, like there's still underlying COVID cases, then of course they're going to make something more mandatory than that. I just see it as an inevitability, and it's also like you're doing your part, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. So, okay. Anything else about the vaccine? Like that from that end? I want to get into like the crazy mindset about it.
No, I think that's kind of a wrap up of what's currently happening of the new variant stuff. To deal with.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so what an interesting exercise in... Okay, so first off, I think it's really funny that people who don't understand what the idea of enlightenment is are quick to judge people who understand what it is. So like, if you break down the idea of enlightenment, ultimately it's just telling you that you have a mind. Like, if you read those spiritual textbooks, which I've done, they're all saying one thing, you know? And once, like Buddha's great epiphany, because so Buddha was suffering from the agony of his thoughts, right? He's like, I'm going to have to get old, I'm going to get sick, I'm going to die. Okay, he didn't want that to happen to him. And then he became enlightened. And then people are like, what is enlightenment? He became enlightened to the fact that there's a separate thing controlling you and providing suffering to your life, which is your mind. He was just overthinking about old age and death.
Yeah.
Okay.
It came at him out of shock.
What?
It came at him out of shock.
Yeah.
That's why.
You mean enlightenment or?
No, the stuff like the.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so let's go into that. The whole idea of Buddha is he was a prince. Okay, and he had everything in this world.
Yeah, but sheltered away.
He was fully sheltered, and then he realized when he saw a dying person, which he was like 20 something when he first saw it, and he was like, oh no, this can happen to me. No, actually at first he was like, what is happening to that man? I've never seen that before. And the person's like, oh, old age, sickness, and death, it happens to all of us. And he said, wait, that's gonna happen to me? And he panicked. Right?
Yeah,
I think we went over this in a really old podcast though. And he really just had a mental breakdown. So then he went on this crazy spiritual pursuit of trying to figure out a way to overcome this old age, sickness, and death.
Suffering,
his suffering over it. So he went to the ascetics. He studied with multiple people. He left his palacehood to go live in the forest with and learn from all these monks. There were other quote unquote Buddhas at the time, so he would study with those people, right? So when he would study these things, he was putting himself through trials. Like he'd go through starvation. So that's what asceticism is. Like you cut off as many things as possible to like achieve some enlightened state. But he didn't know what he was seeking, right? Then he had this epiphany one day after all of his study. He realized that there was this thing called a mind controlling his suffering. And he realized he could shut it off, right? That's all enlightenment is at the end of the day. And if you understand that, if you truly understand that, welcome to the party. But that's just where it begins. There's nothing special about that. And in all the spiritual textbooks, they're like, there is nothing special. That's like the basis point of it. Because then you get into Tantra and like Zen Buddhism. Because after you realize you're separating yourself from your mind, what is left to do except collect tools in order to stop your mind from talking to yourself, right? You already understand that there's two layers, right? You're like your active like state where you're just doing things without thinking about them, and then you're doing things heavily in thought. But then now how do you go back from that? Okay, so that's where I want to set the stage. So I would say for me, my biggest fear is like injections, right? So I collected all these tools of like numbing cream and like meditation and going through the cold, actually, like Wim Hof.
Right.
Remember, I did Wim Hof.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, how do I go through pain? And then I even like got tattoos because I was like, okay, this is just multiple injections. Let me like subject myself to like what Buddha did, painful moments, right? And then all of a sudden, I was forced into a situation where it's time to use what you know, right? And what they say is you can never stop your sympathetic nervous system or else you'd be a robot. Right. But the perspective of everyone is if you understand these enlightened phrases, you must be a robot. But that takes away your humanity. So my humanity is I'm still afraid. But I'm still going to do what I need to do. That's the difference, right? Because other people can be afraid and they'll just run away from it.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? They're like, okay, I'm never going to get the shot. Because I'm scared. Cool. But I'm like, I know I need to do this, so I'm afraid I'm going to do it anyways. But I'm going to use all the tools I have at my disposal. To help me get over this hurdle.
Right.
Okay. So I think what really messed me up during that shot. So basically, I had this like panic attack during it, but I didn't know it was a panic attack. So prior to this, I was just seeing all on the news. We're going to get the shot. We're seeing all these people getting the shot. You see like these percentages of like 1 in a million people get sick from it, blah, blah, blah. And then Wob getting the shot first, he's like, oh, I had 3 attendants on me because I got dizzy.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, the shot does that to you? And then Tara's little sister was like, oh, I saw somebody get wheeled out. And I was like, dude, what is what is the shot? Like, what are the adverse effects of this? Okay. And then even when I was going through it, she's like, did you read the paper? And I was like, okay, I'll read in front of you. So I was reading, and then I saw this one called like, have you ever fainted? And then I asked her, but there was like a lost translation because we live in like a not very English heavy area.
Right.
So I was asking her like, is this a part of the shot or is this psychological? She didn't really understand what I was saying. She's like, it's the shot. And I'm like, okay. So if I experience any of these symptoms, I got to tell you right away.
Right.
She said that to me. She's like, if you experience any of these symptoms on the paper, you got to tell me right away. I was like, all right, cool. So I got the shot. But mind you, because I track everything I intake,
Yeah.
I didn't have any water that day. And we went, remember, in the morning in the hot sun to go. And then I just went straight to the vaccine. So I think what happened was I was building up this idea in my head of like, now I got to get it. Oh my God, there's these dangers. People were... See, I didn't read that thing that you said. You're like, did you read the side effects of the shot thing? I'm like, no. I didn't realize they gave you a piece of paper with the actual side effects, which had nothing to do with dizziness at all. It's just like, it's like you might get hives, you might get sick, you'll have a sore arm.
Yeah. So
if I'd read that paper before, I'd have been like, oh no, this isn't the shot, this is just me. Right? So I think essentially what happened was I had built this up because of the media, all the stories. And then when I got it, I think I got a huge adrenaline dump afterwards, because it's like relief, you're like, oh, it's done. And then I started to feel lightheaded. And then when I noticed that, I started to think, oh my God, the paper. Oh my God, what happened to Wob? Oh my God, what happened to Tara's sister? Oh my God, there's people that... And then I started to think, oh my God, because I've never had allergic reaction. I was like, am I going through an anaphylactic shock? Right. Are they going to give me more needles because they need to stop this? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Right? My mind started to spiral out of control. So I told Tara, I was like, oh, I'm not feeling very good. And then she's like, you're fine. And then she looked at me and she's like, oh, you're not doing good. Because she could see in my eyes because we were wearing masks. Yeah. And then we told the lady and I was like, oh, I'm not feeling very good. She's like, okay, let me quickly walk you to this area. And I'm like, wait, I'm feeling a little... as we were walking, I'm like, oh, I'm actually feeling a little better. And she's like, yeah, but precautionary, you got to go in here. So I sat down and then this lady came in and I asked her right away, I'm like, is this a side effect of the shot? And she's like, yeah. She's like, it's from the shot. And I was like, okay. So I was like, oh, this is a problem here. So I started to panic a little more. I was like, give me some orange juice, like apple juice. I was drinking the apple juice. I was drinking the water. And then Tara came in and they took my blood pressure and then they were both kind of panicked because I guess it was dipping really, really low. And she said, oh, your lips were... But this is after the fact. They were both like, we didn't want to tell you to freak you out more, but your lips were white. I was like, what? So then I repeated after I was like getting into it. I was like, okay, is this psychological or is this from the vaccine as an allergy? And she was like, it's psychological. And as soon as she said that, I was like, oh. So I just laid down and I was like, okay, I feel better. And then she's like, no, we need to keep you here a little longer just to monitor you. Of course. And I'm like, no, but I feel fine. Because I use the tools. Because so the thing that freaked me out was I thought I was I was
having a reaction.
Yeah. Right? But it wasn't a reaction. It was my mind spiraling out of control. But as soon as I realized it was my mind, I was like, okay, we have the tools. Let's go back to it, So then post this, I was getting ripped by my family about the whole shot thing. Like, oh, you read all these books and like, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, but you're not understanding humanity and actual enlightenment. Right. Enlightenment's very easy. We all know we have a mind, right? But now you need to gather the tools and move through life with full awareness that your mind holds you back. Because there's so many things we do. Right. And that's what like Zen is, and that's what Tantra is. It's all about what do you really want to do in life? And you got to know that your mind's going to come up in your way. But if you really want to get there, you need to be able to control your mind. Control your mind, control your life. Yeah. And yeah, people who don't understand that connection end up looking negatively upon people that know that very basic truth. It's very simple. Like that's what enlightenment is. We're not robots.
Yeah, no.
We're humans. We just and I was having a human experience. Yeah. But as soon as you told me it's psychological, you're not having an allergic reaction, I was like, all right, the tools are here. So I just use the tools. Yeah. I'm like, all right, we're back to normal. Even she was like, oh, that was really fast, but we need to keep here. And I was like, yeah, but I'm fine. I know what we're doing. I know what I'm doing now. Right. Yeah, when I was having that allergy, when I thought it was an allergic reaction, I panicked so hard. You added more. I was like, get this thing out of me. Oh my God, what's going on? Oh my God, I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna be one of those horror stories. Yeah. But it's funny because people are like, well, you should have known. I'm like, how could I have known? Like, again, you can't stop your sympathetic nervous system from acting. You can only control it. The sympathetic is the human aspect, like your fight or flight. That's your human aspect of your being. But you can always transcend it. You know, literally, if you read all of these texts, they say actually the best line I love of Zen: chop wood, carry water. Become enlightened, chop wood, carry water. Why? Because nothing in your life changes except you realize, oh, I have a mind. And I think that's honestly, if you look into the whole idea of Jesus, I think that's what it was. I think because they started to glorify, because you were saying like, because of my social media, people think I'm holier than thou. But it's not. I'm just sharing things that I find very insightful about spirituality. Right? So I think maybe Jesus came up against, if he was real.
Okay, same thing. Yeah. I mean, didn't he, supposedly learn from
That's what I was about to get into. That's what I was about to get into.
Okay.
If you read the lost years of Jesus, he goes to India to learn about Buddhism. And that's where he was able to do pain management and all this other stuff. Like when they were whipping him, it's not that you didn't feel the pain, bro.
Right.
You know, because they're like, oh, he's Jesus, he's fine. No, but he's still human. You just have tools. You're human with tools. That's all it is. You know? And I think that's a very important aspect of spirituality, that people need to realize that we're all still human. We just have tools. Yeah. That we can share with you, but we're not gods.
Yeah, we're not. There's no superhuman here.
There's no super. Like I feel
we're all human. Yeah,
I came face to face with my biggest fear, which is injections. Actually, Tara asked me this. She's like, what are you more afraid of, heights or injections? Because I hate both. And I was like, injections. And then she's like, why not heights? I'm like, because I know that's straight up in my mind. Because I even tested it. Like I've been through, like we've been to mountaintops to push this. Like I needed to force myself, like similar to the getting tattoos thing. I needed to force myself to learn the tools, right? So when we climbed those mountains, I was like, okay, you know the tools, you know to breathe, you know what to do, you know. But I felt like this one was out of my control. I really thought I was having an allergic reaction, you know.
Yeah. Right. Because you didn't know.
Because I didn't know. If I had read the paper before, I'd have been like, oh, this is none of the symptoms.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'll go next time like hydrated, you know.
Oh, that's probably another thing too. Yeah.
And also the reason.
Well, because you're already like getting prepared for that, you forgot to drink. Well, like you weren't.
I was going like warrior mode that whole day. Like, where I'm going to do my routine, you know. And again, the routine, the numbing cream, all that. Those are tools. We all need tools. Yeah. You know, we act like we don't suffer. You know, the people that like laugh about injections, to me, it's very funny. It's like, they're like, oh, you're afraid of shot. I'm like, look at your life, bro. What are you afraid of? What are you manifesting? What are you ruining yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're pointing, look at the totality of my life. And I'm overtly telling you I'm afraid of injections. But you're going to make fun of me for it. You know what I mean? But look at other aspects of your life. Do I point out those? Do I make fun of those? You know, no, because we're all on our journey.
Yeah. I mean, some people don't even want to acknowledge their fear, right? They just hide it.
That's what my mom said, right? It's like, be a man. I'm like, what does that mean? That just means masking your pain. Like, but then that's like building the wrong habit. So I'm going to suffer in silence. And that's when people have mental breakdowns.
I'm saying in general of other things that people suffer from that people don't talk about.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And that's more detrimental. Like if you're at least upfront with what you know that you're afraid of or whatever fear, you have better ways to deal with them. Right.
Yes. Yeah. Tools. Yeah. Actually, it's funny. So when I say enlightenment, getting in the door, I know so many enlightened people. There's so many out there, but they're not living life in accordance with the way they want to live. So you may know the truth. I always say this to like people who I talk to that espouse like, oh, I can recite all this stuff to you. Okay. You know, yeah, you can recite it to me. You do know it. I'm telling you, you know it.
Yeah.
But the hardest part is actualizing what you want in life. because it requires you to use those tools in order to get what you want. You know, but then you're enlightened, but you look at your life and you hate your life. So now you're just depressed because you know what you should be doing, but you're actually not doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's so many people's problem, where they know what they should be doing. We all know we should get the shot. You know that your fear is standing in the way, but you're not going to do it. And you're going to have subtle, even though it's not overt in your mind, subconsciously you're going to be like, I'm worthless. I should be doing my part. I'm not doing, you know what I mean? You're going to go through those, and then those are going to manifest in other parts of your life. You're going to go for a job or something, and you're going to be like, I'm worthless. I'm not even worth this job.
Right.
You know? And then like, oh, I want to do this with my life. Oh, I can never get there because I'm this. But it's like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. You know? So if you're running away from one small thing, you're probably running away from other things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even though you know what you should be doing, you know? Because knowing is the easy part. Being enlightened is the easy part. Doing is the hardest part. Yeah. All right, now that that's off my chest. Everyone who ripped on me, you gotta listen to this podcast. Screw you guys. Just kidding. I love you guys always. You just don't know. You know what that is? That's a Jesus line. Forgive them for they do not know. You know? God forgive them for they do not know.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll get into this actually. I think it's important. So I was actually going to stop my thing altogether, my like posts.
Okay.
You're
telling me
because I had that revelation. I'm like, oh, it's just not working. Like, what's the point? They're gonna glorify me as some like godly figure, and if there's one chink in my armor, which I think is silly because I'm literally telling you what the chink is. You know what I mean? It's like, we shouldn't say that anymore. I'm literally telling you what the crack in my armor is. You know?
Well, in our phraseology,
well, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
But if you read like Zen books, they talk about enlightened masters who have bad tempers. They talk about Zen masters who are lazy. It's because they're human, you know? I'm actively telling you, I know this is a problem with me, but I'm going to move through it with the tools I have. But even though I told you this is my problem, when it arises, you're like, oh, you know nothing. So I was like, okay, what's the point of any of my posts, whatever. But then after like talking to Tara, after talking to you, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to keep putting it out there because the right people who understand it will derive strength and meaning from it. You know what I mean? It's like, if you understand what I'm saying, cool. We're just going to be at the party together. The people that don't understand, forgive them for they do not know. You know? It's Jesus. It's funny because I rip on Jesus all the time, but you can because it's all just truth. Like, I don't actually believe.
Well, there is good information in there.
Yeah, totally.
You know, with other things. But
actually, Tara was saying in this program she's taking, she was saying because she was very anti-religious too, because we understood it's all in your head, right? The difference is, for me, I'm like, I know it's a tool. So if you need God, you need God. I still pray to God. I know it's not real, but sometimes, not every day. But like if something's come, like I'm not that. But like if
it's just a way to deal with certain suffering,
right? So if there's something in my life that I can't deal with, like there's been some scares, you know, like health scares, right? In that situation, I cannot do anything
because we're in control.
Because we have no control, right? So sometimes you have to relinquish control and be like, God, I need you to look after this for me. As I'm saying it, I know full well there's no God listening to me, but I'm just putting it out into the universe because I cannot do anything.
That's right. It's kind of like a tool to make yourself feel...
A tool. Again, a tool.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's better. Yeah.
Right? So it's funny, Tara's taking this program now, and she was like, yesterday, I think it was, she was like, I think there's a point to religion now. And I'm like, yeah, I know, because it's a tool, you know? And she's like, yeah, because some people do need it. I'm like, yes, but some people need many different things. Some people need alcohol when they need it. Some people need marijuana when they need it. Some people need LSD, you know? That's why I think there's going to be a great movement moving forward for psychedelics, because you do need those things. We're just gathering tools. We're all humans trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know? And I think vilifying people who understand the very basic concept of what enlightenment is is doing an injustice to moving ourselves forward.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
It's just a way of trying to understand yourself or the world, right? That's kind of where this is, and we're all fallible in the sense that we're all humans who have,
totally.
I don't know, other things.
Actually, I think this is kind of cool. I'll bring it up. I don't think it's too personal, so I'll bring it up. I actually had this crazy revelation a couple days ago. So Tara's program about like mental health, making people like mentally better, mental health, right?
Right.
She was explaining something to me, and I was like, "Oh, you're doing the work of Buddha, right? You're making these people understand aspects of their own psychology that they can awaken and then further strengthen other parts of their lives." Because there are so many stories of like, "Oh, I suffer in silence. I never told anyone this." But then if you show them the tools, then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. And then I could change my life."
Yeah.
Which is the whole point of enlightenment. You're just telling them, because I said to him, like, "Are you prescribing any like drugs?" No. Are you like, obviously like food changes, but those are tools, right? If I eat better, I'm going to feel better. My mind's going to think better, right? This is basic, right? And I was like, okay, so you're just doing like Buddha's work, but in a contemporary way. You're just sharing the understanding of enlightenment and giving people tools, right? And it was funny. She's like, "No, but I'm going beyond Buddha because I'm actually making things actionable," right? And I was like, "No, but Buddha was using the science at the time."
Yeah, right. That's the thing. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for understanding. Because when I said it, we had a little argument, but I was like, no. But all he had was what he had. Now we have neuroscience. We have freaking we have so much more data.
We're much more advanced in our science.
But the basic premise goes back to what Buddha was trying to teach. One thing: you have a mind controlling you. Control your mind, control your life. That's it. That's what enlightenment is.
Right.
Whatever the tools are the tools. But that will change over time. That will always change over time as technology changes.
And we're still learning now, right?
Exactly.
Like, even with the psychedelics, that's just a new thing that's being.
Yes. No. So okay. So what's crazy about this? Because I'm so into this. So they had it before. From the very beginning of time, they'd use psychedelics.
No. Yeah, no. I'm not saying they didn't use it. I'm saying like in modern science
totally.
that the study is showing this.
Now we have data.
Proof. That it's data that's
that
actually
it works. Yeah, totally. I agree with you there. Yeah. Actually, so meditation's really. I gotta like save up for this thing because I really want to buy it. It's called Muse, I think. So it's a headband. I had heard about it before, but I totally forgot about it. So it tracks your meditation level. So how does it do that? It analyzes your brain wave.
Right.
And sends it to that. I'm in love with my Garmin because it shows me my steps, my heart rate, all this stuff. The Muse thing, it's as you're meditating, it shows you your alpha, gamma, beta waves.
Yeah.
And then if you can like align them, it means that you're in a state of no mind because your mind's not active. No mind equals your mind's not active. You're just in the moment. So the exercise of meditation is learning how to be fully in the moment, right? But you can do this many other ways, like video games.
Sure.
Meditation's not it's not sitting there. It's not just sitting there. So now we have the technology to give us biofeedback. Like you were saying about the psychedelics. I'm like, that's why I'm very excited about the future. Like as technology progresses, we can find more and more tools to help us navigate life. Right. But if you go back to it, none of that discredits the one thing Buddha was teaching. Change your mind, change your life. That's it,
Yeah, the foundation of it.
And then everyone starts building these crazy things. Remember the thing about, I think Gabor Mate is like, remember we were talking about that, like, oh, Buddha didn't talk about the 7 state. I'm like, yeah, because you know that now. He didn't know that back then.
Yeah. Right.
He didn't, or else he would have been like, oh, here's another tool, guys.
Yeah.
Buddha was just sharing tools. That's it.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the progress of science, and as we learn more, this is what happens. You can see where we were at. What were the right things and the wrong things, because that of course was there too. Even in today's science, or what are the right things and wrong things, is in the medical field, right? In the medicine world, there is some good things and bad things with this stuff too. So it's like it's changing again.
Right.
as
Totally.
we keep learning more and more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I think it's a bright future as we move forward. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So one of my favorite lines is why. So there's the story of a monk who's meditating for 20 years and he runs up to his master and he's like, master, I figured it out. I can levitate now. I've worked for 20 years to levitate across the river. And then the master goes, yeah, but the ferry's 5 cents. So you wasted 20 years of your life. So I was going to get back to what is the one thing that Buddha taught us as an exercise? This was his tool. Meditation was his tool. How do you meditate? Sit there, breathe. That was his tool. Okay. Great. Now we have tools like marijuana to get you into the state of full presence. Right. We have antidepressants. If you're too depressed, Buddha would say, just breathe, just meditate, you're fine. That's the one tool we had. Literally, if you look at back then, Buddha's single
that was
tool,
the level of his science knowledge.
Exactly. That's why it makes me so crazy sometimes to see all these people advocating for straight meditation. I'm like, meditation will only take you so far because we have better science now. Why meditate for 20 years to levitate across the river? Yeah. You could just take the ferry for 5 cents. Right.
Yeah, these should be taught together. You know what I mean?
Yes, but that's also why I said you're doing the work of Buddha, Tara. Because
that's not. Yeah,
it's like you're getting them through the door. You're telling them you have a mind that's controlling you. Now you're going to show them tools. That's it. That's all it is. Just tools. Yeah. And it's funny. Buddha's one tool, meditation. That's all he was a monk in the forest, right? Like, why are you going to talk about, like, when Gabor Mate was talking about, like, oh, ages 1 to 7, you have this. He didn't do any psychological study. He wasn't a scientist like that. He didn't have any, like, he was just giving you his tool. Yeah. He's like, oh, when I meditate, I stop thinking. Great. But you know what else does that? A liter of alcohol. Right? It's very true.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, you're scared of something? Like, people say, like, oh, before you do a presentation, take a shot of whiskey. Okay. Because it'll make you a little...
Right, yeah.
But it's like, or you could have meditated for 20 minutes. This spiritual superiority is so irritating because when I hear that, like, when it's like, oh, I was nervous for my presentation, so I took a shot of whiskey. Right? Like, comedians do that. Like, Joe Rogan does that. Yeah. Before I go on stage, I take a shot of whiskey. The ultra spiritual will be like, why didn't you just meditate? They're like, okay, the ferry's 5 cents, bro. Yeah. Like, we don't need to spend 20 years doing something.
Right.
We have tools. Yeah. Wow, this podcast totally turned not where I thought it was going to go. And I call this, like, Enlightenment Understood.
Yeah. True.
Because all enlightened people click, oh my God, what is this? And then they hear, like, oh my God, what I've been learning is wrong. It's like, it's very simple.
It's not about necessarily going to the old ways. That's not the way forward.
Thank you. The way forward is moving forward with the tech we have at the time, not reverting back. No matter how many malas you wear, no matter how many, what do you call those? The
third eye stuff?
Third eye, yeah. What do you call it? You have like an Indian word for it.
But that's a bindi though, right?
Bindi, yeah. So no matter how many bindis you put on your head, no matter how many
I don't know they use it for that. I thought it was just like
no, I've been in those circles.
I thought it was just a fashionable thing.
Oh, so you think
so? My experience of it is just fashionable.
All right. In these, all right. So in these,
there's probably a meaning to it, but yeah.
So because you're awakening your third eye.
Sure, but the majority of people that do it are not thinking like that.
So funny because you're Indian, so you understand from a cultural perspective. Oh, it's just fashion. But we in the West, we look at that. There's been so many moments where you wrap them in a mala, you put a bindi on their head, you blow a little smoke in their face, and you start chanting, num 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 num, and then like, oh, I feel so much better. You know what probably would have made you feel better? Shot of whiskey. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like, I love that line you said. The way forward, like, we need to move forward with the stuff going forward. We can't look back to move forward. Right. Too many people in the spiritual circle look back. But no, we need to merge science with spirituality.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait, you're telling me my crystals don't work? No, they do. They work because they're a placebo.
Right.
But again, there's other things that
Understand
cost
it
5
as
cents.
placebo. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know how much those salt lamps cost? Do you know, like, that is actually so true. Do you know how much those salt lamps cost?
No.
Like upwards of $200. I'm
See, this
I
is
kid you
the
not, bro.
greatest. What do you call
marketing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like, all right, here. I'll give you a great example. People who have seasonal affective disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sad.
Yeah.
I think, I'm pretty sure I suffer from that. Self-diagnosed. I don't really know. But like, I would assume you feel bad in the wintertime. I think we all feel bad if we don't have sun.
Well, yeah. I think that's
Basic humanity, right? Okay. So I've been in these circles. Salt lamps all around you. Little singing bowl. You know what a singing bowl is?
Yes. I've seen it. Yes.
Right? Wrapping ourselves in cloth, putting bindies, blowing some smoke, right? Like, wow, I feel so much better. My seasonal affective disorder is gone. That was probably like to get the setting, like, let's say $500, right? A vitamin D lamp is $50 on Amazon. And it works way better because it's giving you actually what your body's craving, which is vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
And how long were you in that freaking singing bowl circle?
Right.
2 hours?
Yeah.
You know? That's the best line. Like, why levitate across the river when the ferry costs 5 cents?
I just reminded me of something like the singing bowls and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It is a tool that can be used for certain types of people.
Totally.
Right?
I
think it was like, because one of the guys...
people that crave nostalgia?
No. I forgot the doctor that he does the Twitch thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like...
Healthy gamer.
Yeah, Healthy Gamer. And it was like the singing bowl thing was more for people with ADHD to hone in on something.
Because
to concentrate on something else.
I really like that guy too. I should tell Tara about Healthy Gamer. He is so...
I think I told her about it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think because of the gamer aspect, she's like, I don't want to look into it.
But he doesn't do any gaming.
No, he doesn't. He's just helping gamers.
Yeah.
But what I find really interesting about his work is he, like, when I listened to his explanation on meditation, I was like, you get it. Because that guy went to those ascetic places. He was like Sam Harris.
He could have been a monk.
Yeah, he could. All right, I was going to get into this. Sam Harris is a certified monk. Sam Harris is a certified monk.
Right.
A Tibetan certified monk. Because he went to go find the answer.
Okay.
And he comes back. That's why he's so good at debating, because he understands your mind. So he's just using the tool. He's using your trick against you.
Right.
You know? That's why he doesn't believe in free will. He understands what's really going on. You know? Yeah, I think it's hilarious. These people that, and I feel like you're one of them, that go in, that understand these esoteric things, and we realize you don't understand what's really going on. Like, as soon as I see somebody, Gabor Mate, he's my new inspiration. So I listened to his live chat with Tara, like, talking about psychedelics, and the host of the thing, who's like a part of the Canadian Psychedelic Association.
Okay.
I kind of like laughed at him because he was this stereotypical mala bracelets.
Okay.
Even the way he was talking. So the funniest thing he said, and this is when I was like, Gabor Mate.
Well, at least he's putting out someone that's with science background.
Fair. But the reason why Gabor Mate got me, so Gabor Mate is actually a medical doctor. I didn't know this. Yeah, it was fascinating. So the host asked Gabor Mate, he said, Gabor Mate, I think many of our viewers would love to know what your daily practice is. Because that's very common. Everyone's talking about it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Gabor Mate said, I don't have one. And I was like, yes, bro. He said, my daily practice is trying to meditate sometimes, doing these, like, eating healthy, moving my body. He's like, I know people who have a daily practice where they wake up and for 2 hours they'll meditate. And he's like, that's not me. And I'm like, you're asking one of the most renowned spiritual people, logically spiritual, science plus spirituality, what their daily practice is, because the buzzword right now is daily practice. And he's telling you there's no such thing.
Right.
Because he really understands spirituality. He's like, all the stuff you're looking for is just tools, bro. And then at the very end, they're like, "Can you leave us with?" But then I love how he just like spun it. Haha. So it's the practice of no practice, like or whatever.
Okay.
You were trying to spin it back to his spiritual ways. So then he was like, "I think before you go, I think the final question we'd love to ask you is, what words of hope would you love to give to the viewers today?" And then Gabor Mate says, "Well, first of all, I don't believe in hope. And if you're asking me about words of hope, I think that's wrong because you shouldn't be looking to me for hope. You should be looking at yourself for hope." And I was like, yes, you get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's like,
yeah,
it's all you, bro.
Because when you do that, it's like you're putting him on a pedestal.
Exactly. Just like I experienced, right? You read all these books, but you're afraid of needles. I'm like, oh my God, you don't understand it. We're all human, you know?
Mm.
Yeah. Fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good podcast. All right. Do you want to get in quickly, like metrics?
Do you want to do that today?
All right. I guess we can go over it next time.
I think next time. It just feels like this is not the spot for it.
All right. Cool. Yeah. We would just like, how long has it been?
50 minutes.
50?
Yeah.
All right. I think going forward. No, I think we've said all we can say. Yeah, tools and toolboxes. It's important to understand what you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, all right, for example, this wall, right?
Yeah.
This wall in front of us. If you look at, I guess, my stories, you'll see like this crazy artwork on our wall that's right in front of what Vish and I see all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are yantras, but not in the sense of like spiritual, because a yantra is basically something that pulls you into a mind state.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
If you break that down, something that pulls you into a mind state, all of the artwork on this wall is something that pulls you into a mind state. Oh, creativity.
Sure.
Oh, art, right?
Mm.
You would say so, like, you know?
Well, for me,
I know it's mostly my ugly
it's
clutter.
mainly you. Yeah. For me, I prefer like nothing.
Right. Okay. Totally. but
well, because it's computer
like
is my
totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And okay, it's great. The computer's yours. So what I'm trying to get at is be very mindful of the things you surround yourself with, even on an unconscious level. And I think Tara woke me up to that when she said, think about all the media you consume about COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when I had the shot,
mm-hmm.
a huge sense of relief, I started to get dizzy.
Yeah.
I got an adrenaline dump because it was over.
Yeah.
You know, how much we even have a WhatsApp group called COVID Gardens Trails, right? Because we're just sharing COVID news, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that you don't know how much pressure that has subconsciously. I'm like, I don't feel any pressure, but subconsciously, my body reacted.
Right.
That we just saw it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's not even at a conscious level. It's a subconscious level. And the only way to control your subconscious is to control what you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the most important tools of all. Like one of the young Yoda quotes is inundate wisely, right? And actually, let me end off with this. So the young Yoda quotes, I think the reason why people are getting confused is because they see my handle as Ervil James.
Okay, right.
But I always put young Yoda says, right? It's not me writing. It is me writing these quotes, but what these are is realizations I have that I'm sharing. And the reason why it's young Yoda, not Ervil James telling you this, is because Ervil James is human. Young Yoda is the master in my mind that's telling me you're being dumb. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm just sharing that with other people. So, okay, to get back to this, I wrote this young Yoda line called inundate wisely. And then the caption was like, what you surround yourself with matters, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think we all need to realize that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest tool of all, because that's something you can control consciously and will affect you subconsciously.
Yeah.
You know, like the videos you watch, the
social media you look at.
Yeah, social media you look at. Yeah. Even down to like the food you eat.
That's true. Yeah.
It's technically what you surround yourself with, because that's going into your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that affects your mind, or the way that the mind works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tools and toolboxes, man. It's very, very simple. We can live in a completely enlightened world. All we need to do is just tell everyone in the world, oh, you have a thing called a mind that's controlling your actions. That's it. And like, now good luck. Like, I can't tell you what tool's going to work for you.
Yeah.
That's why life is a journey. You need to figure out your own self. So you're right. Maybe you do need those malas and bindis. Like, that's great for you.
Yeah.
But if you can see higher past it, you know, you can.
Well, it could be a start, right? Like it's maybe
those people don't even realize that they have a mind. That's why they're doing those things. Because if you understand that, oh, it's playing with your head, you'd be like, oh, this placebo. This bindi is a fucking placebo. Oh, right. I swore. Damn. I got so into it there. All right.
Maybe, yeah. I thought the main thing was that the mind and body are different or something like that, right?
Yeah, totally. But like, I think the people that, going back to religion, going back to singing bowls,
right.
bindis, malas, those are all just things affecting your mind. And I think the people that do those things haven't realized that there's a separation between mind and body yet. Even though they post like the mind and the body are one. Blah,
or
blah, blah.
Or it's like
they know it on a superficial
They know it,
level.
but they don't understand it.
True. They know it, but they don't understand it.
Right.
Because you know why? Because they reject science. Most of those people who are ultra spiritual reject science.
Right. Yeah.
Think about the happy science dude. You know, let me chant COVID away. Like, it's not gonna work. We need the vaccine.
Yeah.
All right. Great episode. All right. Final thought, Vish. Go.
Oh, I did have one. No, I forgot.
Excellent. All
well,
right.
I don't remember it now. Yeah, I don't remember what it was anymore.
All right.
Final thought.
Final thought. Get the goddamn vaccine so we can fly, bro. I'm itching to travel so hard.
Oh.
So we can go back to movie theaters, restaurants.
Yeah.
And
we have a
travel.
plan, or Ontario has a plan. Stages.
Oh yeah.
Set up for opening.
It's funny with the 2-week thing. Remember, you're like, oh, we got 60%, and I was like, I texted that like food group. I'm like, let's go to a restaurant, and then you're like, on the 14th. Because you have to account for the 2 weeks of 60%. I was like, dang, I forgot about that.
Because I was watching the press conference, and they're like, why is it taking so long for the stage one? And then he's like explaining it. Like,
basic.
We've hit the 60%, but we need to, people still need 14 days to create some antibodies, I guess. That's like, that's why it's June 14th.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it. And then the dum-dums who see that are like, oh, it's conspiracy, bro. They just want to hold us down. It's like, no, just please look at the science.
Yeah.
You know? Actually, sorry, one final thing. In that sheet that you said, I had no idea how vaccines were made. Like, and they give you so much information on the vaccine sheet. I was like,
they have to. So the thing is when you're dealing with government, there's so much misinformation that they have to give out all this information. And I think it's a good thing to do. I think they do that in general anyways, like what's in the thing, because you're taking it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I didn't know,
because you need to know which, maybe you're allergic to something, so you shouldn't be taking it if you're allergic to something.
True, totally. But it's weird because other anti-vaxxers would be like, that's propaganda. It's like, no, we're literally giving you the answer.
They're always going to say something.
Yeah.
They're always going to find something to say against it. That's you can't stop that. Doesn't matter what it is. But you have to, as a government, you have to inform the people as well as you can.
Right. And I like on the sheet, it said, this has no COVID vaccine, COVID antibodies in here. You cannot get COVID from the Pfizer, the way we created it. And then when I was reading the ingredients, I had no idea that it was made up of fats. I was like, what? You know?
Right.
And then one of the lines was like, this doesn't contain aluminum. And I was like telling Tara that. I might butcher this because I don't really know the science. She knows the science. But she was saying the reason why old vaccines had the aluminum, right, is because you need to put a foreign agent in the body for
it to react to
attack it.
Yeah.
So the aluminum is only there to piss off your white blood cells.
Or to trigger your
immune system.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, foreign entity.
Right.
You know? But then they're like, okay, with this new mRNA, we don't need aluminum. But the old ones, they had aluminum.
Right.
But there was a purpose for it. Like, your body wouldn't have jumped into action if there was nothing weird going on.
Yeah.
Science, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Science is crazy. We're going to Mars. We're going to the moon and the Mars. Elon Musk for president. Until next time.
Yeah.
Take it easy, Vish.
Sure.
What? You what you said?
No, he's not.
I thought
Gonna
you said Allah. I was like, whoa.
No. I was gonna say like he wouldn't be president.
No, he
That
wouldn't.
doesn't make sense.
Because he knows they're chimps, bro.
He'd just meme it too much.
He would. He'd be worse than Trump because he'd just be sending memes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Till next
All
time.
right.
Take
Yeah.
it easy.
Peace.
All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.